Good morning, afternoon, everybody. Shabbos. Big milestone that the Axelrod and Erdnest family get. Moshe Axelrod to Shlomit Erdnest from Yerushalayim. And Baruch Hashem, I'm pretty excited. The Chaim was this past week, two nights ago. And I said a quick Bar Torah at the L'chaim, Zakul Yakar, regarding that the bracha of Yitzchak was really kashur, tied to the fact how great and how tzenua Sarah was. And afterwards I get a bunch of thank yous, only from women. So it turns out that the women appreciated, not that I get so many thank yous, 6, 5. All the women appreciated that I spoke about it, I guess, and none of the men really said anything. Okay, whatever, fine, next. Okay, totally fine. This week's Parsha, there's a few interesting pieces that the Pri Tzaddik, Tzaddik Cohen of Lublin, point out. I thought it's pretty interesting. The first, we know, all the kids know about Abraham. Tent, 4 doors, feeding people to stay, and make sure you say the bracha, learn about God. But you don't really have it anywhere in the Torah that doesn't took place. There's a medrash, the mashal to it, Eshel, Achila, Shtia, Lina, Vita Eshel. Okay, but the part that we see that Abram really does Achnas Archim is a place that it's not even needed. Think about it, which, it's a good point. No one, I think, picks this up, is that he runs to get water, he makes bread, 3 animals for the 3 malachim, shechita, the whole thing. And these weren't human. They weren't human. They were malachim. What's the point of this? The malachim, either they don't eat or they ate because, Rashi says, brings the medrash also, you go to a place, the custom is to eat. So the malachim ate. But why do we only look at Abraham's midah of chesed? And we point to this parsha where was not needed. So whether Abraham knew their malachim, and even if they were not malachim, why point to this? These weren't people that were going to become Jewish. They weren't people that needed sustenance from Abraham. So, Pri Tzaddik says that we have the pasuk, Kikar Relacha, Beficha, Lubavcha, Laso. That's close to you, Torah, Chu is close to you, in your heart, in your mouth, to do it. That it gets done. Actions. It doesn't say your actions. It says in the actions, Laso. And Pri Tzaddik says that's really the point of the way we go through life, is we're judged really on our efforts and our mind, on our wanting to do something. So it's everything in our heart to do it, our cheshek to do it, whatever it is in our mouth, that we say it, we daven, we learn Torah. That's really the main purpose of this. And the actions, that's not really you. That's kind of you and Hashem and God. Get done, it won't get done, who's going to do it, how it'll get done, that's really in God's hands. Many times we want to do a mitzvah and we're not able to, whatever the reason is. But if we wanted to do it, it's kind of like it gets done. The Pri Tzaddik says in another place where, like Bris Milah is okay on Shabbos because it's not really just your actions, it's action of 2 people. We know there's a Gemara that says anything that 2 people have to do an action, Minat Torah, if one person does it, it's not considered a real malacha. Carrying a huge heavy beam. 2 people, it's tercha, 2 people should do it. One person does it, not chayiv. It's a job of 2 people, it's a shinoi. So, Bris Milah is an example of 2 people, because Hashem curse imo habris, Hashem does it with the moel. Okay, one of the reasons Pri Tzaddik gives. So the point is, it's the cheshek that really is important here. And the machlokus is whether the malachim ate or didn't eat. How could Rabbi Shmuel Akiva, how could Akiva say that the malachim were eating? So the point is, they were eating, but not in the sense of eating food, physical food. They were eating from the Maisa of Abraham. The Gemara talks about that the malachim come home every Friday night, and they look at this house. Was the house put together? Is the food ready? The tables are set. The table's set. Everyone okay? And the malach agrees, doesn't agree. So there's certain kiyum of the malachim with our actions. And we know the Gemara says that a mitzvah creates a malach, an avera creates a bad malach, and it's our actions that keep these malachim in place. And the Pri Tzaddik says when Abraham was actually doing the work to feed them, so let's say he didn't know they're malach, he thinks they're just travelers, but the actions he did, this is what kept their nourishment. And the Gemara says these three things that Abraham did, water, stood over them, and gave them to drink, these are three things Hashem repaid the Bnei Yisrael in the Midbar. And it's not just the food themselves, but it's the act of the effort of doing it that did it. It's like a spiritual nourishment, similar to what the Jewish people had in the Midbar. The Jewish people had the mun. It wasn't a physical food. It was a spiritual nourishment. And that's kind of what Pri Tzaddik says in the last piece of Vayera. And it's something I think is pretty important, that we think, our actions aren't important, or, what effort should we do? And Pri Tzaddik says the effort is more important. And Sfas Emes says in other places as well, is the effort that you do shows the cheshek that you do it. Some mitzvahs were kind of, do it, you don't do it. But how do we approach a mitzvah? And the approach of a mitzvah, b'fichol vavcha, that will help it get done. Whether it gets done by itself, whether Hashem helps you, or you do it, or whether it doesn't get done, it's the cheshek and the approach is most important. Shabbat shalom.